My boss fired me to hire his son. 3 months later, he begged me to come back. I never thought I would enjoy watching a company fail, especially a company I spent 7 years helping build. But when my old boss called me at 2:17 a.m. and said, "Please, we need you back," I just sat there staring at my phone. Because 3 months earlier, that same man looked me in the eyes and told me, "You're not part of this company's future anymore." I started working at Harrison Tech when it was just a small startup. Only 12 employees. Everyone knew each other. The owner, Mark, wasn't just my boss. He was someone I respected. I stayed late. I fixed problems nobody wanted to touch. I built relationships with clients. Eventually, I became the person everyone depended on. If a system crashed, they called me. If a client was angry, they called me. If a project was falling apart, they called me. I wasn't the loudest person in the company. I wasn't the most impressive, but I was reliable. And for years, that was enough. Then Mark's son, Jason, joined the company. Jason was 25. Fresh out of college, no experience. But he had one advantage, his last name. On his first day, Mark introduced him. "This is Jason. He'll be learning management." Nobody had a problem with that. Everyone has to start somewhere. The problem was, Jason didn't want to learn. He wanted control. Within weeks, he started changing things. He changed systems that worked, ignored experienced employees, made decisions without asking anyone. Whenever someone questioned him, he would say, "My dad trusts me." One day, Jason made a mistake that almost cost us our biggest client. He changed an order without telling the team. The client received the wrong product. They were furious. I spent 2 weeks fixing the damage. Late nights, constant calls. Eventually, I saved the relationship. I expected Mark to be angry at Jason. Instead, he called me into his office and said, "Maybe you need to be more supportive of Jason." I thought I misunderstood. Supportive? He almost lost our biggest client. Mark sighed. "You're becoming resistant to change." That sentence bothered me, because I realized something. They weren't seeing me as valuable anymore. They were seeing me as someone standing in Jason's way. A month later, I got called into HR. They told me my position was being eliminated. 7 years. Gone. I looked at Mark. I asked, "After everything I've done for this company, you're firing me?" He avoided eye contact, then said, "Business is business." Before I left, Jason shook my hand. He smiled and said, "No hard feelings. Things change." I packed my desk into a cardboard box and walked out. What they didn't know was that I kept records of everything. Not because I planned revenge, because I was organized. Every client history, every process, every system, every emergency solution. I had built most of the company's internal knowledge base. They didn't fire an employee. They removed the person who knew how everything worked. The first month went fine. Jason was confident. Mark was proud. They told everyone they were entering a new era. Then problems started. A client asked about an old project. Nobody knew the details. A supplier issue happened. Nobody knew who to contact. A system broke. Nobody knew how to fix it. Then the biggest problem happened. The company had a major contract renewal, millions of dollars. And the presentation required years of data. The data I managed. That's when my phone rang. It was Mark. "Hey, can we talk?" I almost laughed, because that was the same sentence he used before firing me. He explained everything. The problems, the contract, the situation. Then he said, "We'd like you to come back." I asked, "Why?" He hesitated, then said, "Because you're the only person who can fix this." Funny, because 3 months earlier, I was replaceable. I asked him, "Do you remember what you told me?" Silence. "You said nobody is irreplaceable." He didn't answer. I declined. Not because I hated them, not because I wanted revenge, but because I finally understood something. They didn't miss me. They missed what I provided. 6 months later, Harrison Tech was sold to another company. Jason was removed from management. Mark retired. And me? I started my own consulting business. The first company that hired me? A former competitor of Harrison Tech. The funny thing is, my old boss spent 7 years teaching me how valuable I was. Then he spent 3 months proving it. Sometimes people don't realize your worth when you're helping them. They realize it when they have to replace you.